When it comes to raising healthy, productive beds, gardeners are constantly searching for ways to energize the soil without relying on chemical fertilizers. One method that has captured attention is the combination of compost tea and molasses. On paper, it sounds simple: a liquid extract full of beneficial microbes, paired with a natural sugar source to feed them. But what does this look like in practice, and how does a raised bed actually respond when this mixture is applied? Over the past few weeks, we tested this exact combination in a raised bed to observe changes in soil life, plant vigor, and microbial activity, and the results were nothing short of remarkable. Why compost tea and molasses are a powerful pair. Compost tea is essentially a liquid version of compost packed with bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms that naturally break down organic matter and release nutrients into the soil. Molasses, while commonly known as a sweetener in the kitchen, serves as a readily available food source for these microbes. When combined, the tea introduces the microbial army, and the molasses gives them an immediate energy boost, stimulating rapid multiplication. The result is a soil ecosystem that becomes more alive, nutrient-rich, and capable of supporting vigorous plant growth. This combination takes advantage of natural biology in a way that synthetic fertilizers cannot replicate. Before applying the mixture, it's essential to start with a bed that has proper drainage, aeration, and organic matter. Our raised bed consisted of a mix of loamy soil, aged compost, and shredded leaves to provide both structure and nutrient diversity. A lightly moist soil base was ideal, as excessively dry soil slows microbial activity, while overly wet soil can cause beneficial microbes to drown. For gardeners trying this at home, ensuring the soil is evenly damp like a wrung-out sponge is key. This creates an environment where microbes can immediately colonize and begin breaking down nutrients. We began with mature compost, avoiding fresh manure that can burn plants or encourage unwanted pathogens. Approximately 5 gallons of water was added to a large bucket and a generous 2 handfuls of compost were steeped in it. To aerate the mixture, we stirred it thoroughly for 10 minutes each day for 3 days. Aeration is critical because many beneficial microbes require oxygen to thrive. Without it, anaerobic bacteria can dominate, which often leads to undesirable odors and reduced soil benefits. After 3 days, the tea had developed a rich, earthy smell, a sign of active microbial growth. This is when we introduced the molasses. A single tablespoon per gallon of tea was sufficient to feed the microbes without creating an excess sugar problem that could encourage harmful fungi. The addition of molasses immediately gave the tea a slightly darker color and a more viscous texture, indicating that the microbes were actively consuming the sugar. We applied the mixture evenly across the soil surface using a watering can with a fine rose to prevent washing away the microbes. It's important to saturate the top few inches of soil rather than simply pouring it over the surface. Microbes need contact with soil particles to establish colonies. After application, a light layer of mulch was added to retain moisture and prevent evaporation, which can hinder microbial activity. The process can be repeated weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the intensity of plant growth and soil vitality. For gardeners with smaller raised beds, scaling down the recipe is straightforward. A single gallon of tea with 1 tablespoon of molasses per gallon can rejuvenate a small plot without waste. Within 3 days, noticeable changes occurred. The soil's texture improved, becoming looser and more friable, which allows roots to penetrate more easily. Microbial activity was visible in the form of increased worm presence and subtle bubbling in the soil, a sign that bacteria and fungi were actively metabolizing organic matter. By the end of the first week, seedlings and transplants showed enhanced vigor, leaves were darker green, growth was steady, and plants appeared less stressed compared to untreated sections. After 2 weeks, the bed had developed a richer, more earthy aroma. This is often a telltale indicator that humus formation is underway, meaning nutrients are being stored in forms that plants can access over time. Soil moisture was also retained better, which is particularly valuable during periods of inconsistent rainfall or drought. The results we observed are grounded in soil biology. Compost tea introduces a high concentration of beneficial microbes, while molasses acts as a quick energy source, stimulating reproduction and metabolic activity. As microbes multiply, they break down organic matter into humic substances, which improve soil structure, nutrient retention, and water-holding capacity. The microbes also help suppress pathogenic organisms by occupying space and competing for resources, naturally protecting plants without chemical intervention. For those looking to implement this at home, here are some practical considerations. First, the ratio of compost to water is important. Too little compost and microbial populations may be too weak, but too much can create anaerobic conditions. We found that 2 handfuls per 5 gallons of water is ideal. Second, molasses should be used sparingly, about 1 tablespoon per gallon of tea. Using too much sugar can encourage unwanted fungi or attract pests. Third, aeration is really critical. Stirring or using an aquarium pump helps ensure oxygen reaches the microbes, which prevents harmful anaerobic conditions. Fourth, make sure to maintain consistent moisture. The soil should be damp but not saturated, and adding a mulch layer can help keep this balance, especially in raised beds that are exposed to sun and wind. Finally, keep a close eye on your plants and soil. Visible microbial activity, better texture, and healthier plants are the best signs that this method is working. The beauty of this approach is its versatility. Small backyard gardens, raised beds, and even container plants can benefit. Larger plots might need larger batches of tea or several application points, but the principles are the same. Feed the microbes first, water them in, and protect the soil from rapid evaporation. Seasonal adaptation is pretty simple. During hot months, you might need to apply more frequently, while cooler periods may call for a slower schedule to avoid overwhelming the slower microbial growth. Our experiment confirmed that a compost tea and molasses mixture can dramatically improve soil health and plant performance in a raised bed. Still, it's not a one-time fix. Continued attention to soil life, feeding microbes, layering organic matter, and maintaining moisture is necessary for long-term benefits. Safety is also key. Always use mature compost to avoid pathogens and don't go overboard with sugar, since that can tip the microbial balance toward undesirable organisms. The payoff, though, is totally worth it. Over time, your bed becomes self-sustaining, holds on to nutrients, improves soil structure, and produces robust crops without needing synthetic fertilizers. Our raised bed responded spectacularly to the compost tea and molasses treatment. Within days, soil structure improved, microbial activity increased, and plants began to really thrive. This method is accessible, affordable, and rooted in natural processes that any gardener can use. It's a living, dynamic approach to soil management that focuses on feeding the soil first, instead of forcing plants to adapt to chemical interventions. Hydro Haven is committed to exploring these practical, science-backed gardening techniques and sharing them with you. Try this experiment in your own raised beds, watch the transformation, and subscribe for more insights into natural soil health, composting innovations, and techniques to help your garden thrive all year round.